Visiting SireRadio.com. Once again, here's Robert Burke.
All right, we are back. We've got another guest who's another one of my favorites with the Nationwide Secured Capital Company out of California, Gene Power. Gene, are you on the line?
I am here, Robert. Good day to you.
Well, it's always great to have you here. How is sunny California?
It's doing well. Spring is springing, and the mild weather is wonderful this time of year.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Hey, you didn't probably hear the first part of their show because you're calling in from California, and you don't hear our show there. But I basically have taken this show to kind of go over some things, a lot of questions and comments that people have written in, questions that they've had, and of course, one of the big questions, the number one question we get in regards to your company, Nationwide Secured Capital. You guys buy owner-financed mortgages around the country. There are a lot of companies out there who do that, but what sets you guys apart from all the rest?
Well, that's a great question, and you're right, Robert. There are probably more companies, brokers, etc. You can shake a stick out there. As soon as you go out and start looking to sell your note, you're going to find a lot of them. Our company is an established, experienced investment firm in these notes, brokerage that buys real estate mortgages and contracts nationwide. We can buy them in any of the 50 states. On all kinds of properties, any kind of property, land, commercial, apartments, duplexes, single family, etc. And that investment experience is essential in providing sellers firm and reliable top-of-market pricing and offers for their notes that meet their needs and will actually make it to closing without a cancellation or change. Many of the buyers out there are new brokers or brokers that don't fully understand what investors require. They've purchased very few, if any, notes for themselves, and many of them are novices. So a company like ours can help a seller to provide an offer, a cash-out offer, that's actually going to happen. Make it to the closing table.
Okay, and now let's say that somebody out there has a note that they would like to sell. They want to get an offer from you. What do they do? What's the step?
Well, they can call our main number, 800-853-0573, or they can go to our website, www.nationwidesecuredcapital.com. And there's a sell my note free quote on the website.
That's what I like about, I've done that before. I've tested you guys out. You can go to your website. You can fill out there on the website. There's a form that anybody can fill out. You put the information about the note there, and then you guys usually, it's very quickly, get right back with the people and maybe with other questions, but you'll come back with a quote on what you'll pay for the note, right?
We do, and that's a real good point. We do ask the questions. We ask a number of questions. And do you, Robert, know when the highest offer is not the best offer?
When is it not?
When it doesn't close.
That is exactly right.
And the reason that we ask a lot of questions up front and we work with our sellers to get full information on the note and documents, etc., is because we need all that information to assure an offer that will close and a price that we can give them that won't change. We actually, our records show that we close 3 to 4 times more of our offers as we made them than other investors or brokers in the market, and that's because we do our homework up front. We don't do quick load offers.
That's a great point, and I'll be honest with you. I had somebody about 3 weeks ago that contacted me and said, hey, they had gotten a quote from you guys, and it came in a couple of $1,000s lower than somebody else, and they were concerned about that. And I said, well, it happens. There, some people look at notes different and hold values different, and you're going to get some different quotes. I said, what I want you to do is I want you to call me back after it closes and let me know it closed. And about 2 days ago, I guess it was, they got back in touch with me and they said, they're not closing.
Well, I'm sad to hear that, but it's also, what we tell our sellers is like the reason we do it this way and the numbers we give you are solid is because we want it to close, we want it to be real, and there is just too much flying around out there that's not real numbers.
And you guys are the real deal. There's no doubt about that.
We're the real deal.
Now, here's another thing that I wanted to cover, and again, it's because it's questions that have come up over the last few weeks. there are a lot of people out there who are buying properties or own a property, but they're able to work in cash. Matt was just with us here before you, and he was saying that 30% of the homes out there have no debt against them, are free and clear. But for an investor who wants to sell a property and hold back the mortgage because they're not interested in the cash, they want that steady income stream. But what would you recommend to them? Because I always say somewhere down the road, you may need that cash and you need to plan ahead. You need to be smart. So for that investor who's looking to sell a property and own or finance it, what are 3 or 4 of the top keys that you would recommend that they do?
The down payment, the interest rate, and the credit are the 3 biggies. We look for at least 10 to 20% on the down payment side. We highly recommend to sellers to get 8, 9, 10%, depending on the type of property that they're selling, and then on the note. And then we would say on the credit, nothing under 600.
Okay. All right.
Now, I do have one other thing to say about what makes us different.
Okay.
And basically, it's this: we treat our note sellers with respect. We work on a win-win philosophy. If it's not good for you, the seller, it's not good for us. Our staff is expert and highly knowledgeable. We answer all questions that we're asked, that a seller will ask us. We strive to deal totally transparently in the transaction. We don't use hardball negotiation. We don't use disrespectful language or tone, intimidation, bullying, pressure tactics that many other brokers and buyers sometimes do in the market to get you to accept an agreement or a change in purchase terms. We have decades of experience, and we use that to provide a professional solution.
Then let me ask you this. If somebody gets a quote from you and it's accepted, and they have all their documentation in place, what's the average time it takes to actually close and for them to get their money?
If they have all their documentation in place, we'll actually get it done a little inside of 30 days. We always tell people it's typically around 30 days. There's 3 things outside of our control: how fast you get back to us with your documentation, payment records, proof of insurance on the property. The next thing that's up is the appraisal. We use outside services for this. It typically takes 7 to 10 business days. If it takes longer than that, then that will extend our time frame. And then the last thing is the title work. Title companies typically get back to us with our title commitment within a week. We can then go to docs and closing. That whole process is about 30 days unless one of those factors outside of our control takes longer.
Okay. Another thing I was thinking about while you were talking is we talked about the ease of going to the website, nationwidesecuredcapital.com, and filling out the little quote sheet that you have. They give their information about the note, and you guys get back with them. That's usually, that quote is emailed back to them. But a lot of people, like to have a voice to talk to. So they also can call and talk with somebody there about the quote or any questions that they have, right?
Yeah, well, actually, we never make an offer except by voice, and then we follow it up with email.
Okay, well, see, I learn something every day.
And we typically interview the seller before we make that offer. We do our homework up front. We ask a lot more questions than the other guys do. We look at a lot more things. We'll actually pull preliminary credit, soft pull, so it doesn't affect the credit of the borrowers. We do a lot more work up front to make sure our offer is the best that's going to be available in the market, but that can actually close. And, there's a number of questions you can ask your buyer in terms of what they do. But if they're not quoting you based on real credit, then it's just a coin flip in terms of, whether that purchase agreement is going to change after you've done it.
Well, here's why I like you guys and like you, Gene, and your company, is we talked about this on the earlier part of the show about when you're talking with somebody, you can tell in talking with them if they're knowledgeable about what they're trying to tell you that they're knowledgeable about. We talked about when you go and make offers on real estate, if you ask the right questions, that type of thing, that you build this credibility. When I talk with you on the show and ask you questions, there's no him-hawing around. You come across as very knowledgeable in knowing what you're doing. And I appreciate that, and I think that comes across.
Well, thanks, Robert.
What I need you to do is to give us the telephone number again, and the website, because again, we're out of time. So if anybody has any questions wants to get a quote, they'll be able to do that.
Okay. The telephone number is 800-853-0573. Any of our staff can help you through the online interview, or you can go straight to the interview yourself, fill it out at your leisure under Sell My Note Free Quote.
Okay.
That's www.nationwidesecuredcapital.com.
Thanks, Gene. Thanks for having you on the show. They can go to our website, too, and get that information. Thanks, buddy.